Welcome to an inspiring journey with stars who make a difference. I'm Wanda Malhotra, lifestyle journalist and CEO of Crunchy Mama Box, a platform promoting conscious living. Today's interview is part of a powerful collaboration with Authority Magazine, a medium publication that delves deep into topics that truly matter. Today, we will have the pleasure of speaking with Anthony Hamilton Jr., who just dropped his single Pin Now featuring Bizkitbnb and is available on all platforms, including Apple Music and Spotify. Anthony is not only a highly accomplished professional dunker, but also a prominent social media personality. His incredible talent for both inspiring and entertaining audiences through his electrifying basketball skills has catapulted him to online stardom. Anthony skillfully combines his extraordinary athleticism and charismatic persona to create engaging and captivating content that consistently delights fans worldwide. Thank you so much for doing this with us, Anthony.
Oh man, no, thank you guys. I'm ready to have a good time.
This is going to be great. I can't wait.
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
our readers would love to get to know you a bit better. Can you
Okay.
tell us your origin story, the story of how you grew up?
No, for sure. I mean, how I grew up. So I'm born and raised in Los Angeles, California. For you guys that don't know, you're living under a rock, so you should get familiar with that. But born and raised there, basketball household. I had a single mother, and that just alone helped me build character with not having my father around in the household. To this day, I am currently rebuilding my relationship with my father, and we backtracked and we're talking about the older times, and I'm getting answers to questions, and we're building that relationship. So that's a beautiful thing. But besides that, yeah, I grew up. It was me and my mom. I picked up the basketball at 7 years old, and I ran with it. One of my dreams was to be an NBA player, as any basketball player that's growing up in America specifically. I was looking up to Kobe Bryant in the Laker era, Derek Fisher, Lamar Odom, Paul Gasol, back-to-back championships when we were going against the Celtics, and it was Lakers versus Celtics since I've been born. But that was kind of like my vision of where I saw my life. I wanted to be in the NBA. I wanted to be playing against that type of or those types of players of that caliber, and I wanted to be a player, an athlete of that caliber myself. Reflecting now from then, like, I'm doing it in my own way, but when I was a kid, I was just so tunnel vision on the NBA. And then I grew up in Los Angeles. I went to Lusinger High School, and this is when I kind of just started to realize and learn the tools that I'm using today with my profession. But I went to Lusinger High School. I was not a great student. I met a mentor that year that has guided me into the correct direction of just making sure I want to at least go to college, making sure that at least submit an application to be a part of this group or this program, or just making my resume versatile for the academic world, especially because I was a contender athletically for basketball stuff. I was an amazing athlete. So I started focusing on my grades a little bit, and my sophomore year, I actually made the varsity team. It was amazing. I was a show out. I was dunking on the side for the coaches, but a very pivotal moment in my career was when I made that team. That practice, at the end of practice, I blew my knee out twice. So it was like I was on cloud nine. I'm about to make the varsity team as a sophomore. I played on the freshman team. I have all these dreams and aspirations of playing Division I college basketball, going to the NBA after a year, and having my dream life. Like, that was just all I was thinking about as a kid, especially using basketball as an emotional outlet, because I didn't have my father around, as an emotional outlet because of the neighborhood I was growing up in, and how much pressure there was for me to take a certain route as opposed to others. You know what I mean? It was a lot of pressure on me. So that moment, everything just collapsed for me in a negative way. And that was a moment I realized that I had to have backups other than just being a professional athlete. But I still had hopes of going to the NBA. It was my first injury ever. I was young. Doctors told me like I should be good. Got back on the court 4 months later and blew my knee out again. Yeah, that face, literally, yeah. So it's literally I blew my knee out again 4 months later, and that when that happened, that was like a okay. They're telling me to medically retire from basketball. They're telling me don't do any type of sports. I'm thinking about me. They're having conversations with me at 14 years old about putting that into perspective of how I need to worry about being able to bend down and embrace my children, one day. Like, you need to, if you want to be able to do those things, you're going to have to stop playing basketball. That's point blank period. So obviously I didn't listen for those, spoiler alert if you don't know. But I literally at that moment, like, I was crushed. My mom was telling me she cares about me first. She doesn't care about no sport, dream job, nothing. She's worried about her baby first. So she's telling me, like, I don't think you should do it. Like, if you want to do it, like, I'm gonna let you do it, your own person, but I want to be safe. I was raised in a household with 7 women as well. So my aunties, my grandmother, my mom had me at a young age, and also foregoed a scholarship to USC to have me. So it was either give birth to me or go to college on a cheerleading scholarship, and she chose me. So this goal was in my head as I'm playing basketball to go to college, to go to USC, to go to LSU, whatever schools. In that moment, I feel like was just all snatched from me that time of when I injured myself. So I had the moments with the doctor. They told me not to play sports anymore. I was like, F that. I'm not doing that. I'm still going to go hoop. Like, you guys can't take this from me. So from that point on, I literally went to my coaches and I told them, look, I'm going to sit out my whole sophomore year, but I'm going to play my junior year. I'm going to make the varsity team. I'm going to play. I'm going to make something happen. And they're just like, okay, like, how high school coaches are. Probably some guy off the street or whatever. This guy was an actual coach, but just knowing what the resume of certain high school coach jobs, the reactions aren't as important to them as it was if I was a college prospect and blew my knee out. You know what I mean? So it was kind of like well, don't rush yourself, but if you want to play, go play. So that was what I was dealing with at the time, but they were also very supportive. Russell Westbrook graduated from that high school. So we were sponsored by Jordan. My junior year, we got the Jordan sponsorship. I came back on the court. No more knee injuries. That was it. That sophomore year. But I got a varsity spot. I started my first corporate inquiry with Adidas. I was an intern in their marketing and sales and advertising department at an executive office in West Hollywood. And I had my own cubicle. I was working with the older people. Like, I was the youngest in the office, like, and they were teaching me and trusting me, and they loved the type of input that I gave them over different engagements we had in the past. But they took me under their wing at that point and taught me most of what I know today for marketing myself as a brand. You know what I mean? So this is a story that's been boiling over the course of the last 10 plus years. But yeah, I went and worked at Adidas. I did a summer internship there. They loved me. And I just, every year I went back. I've been working with them for 10 years now, just giving them references, consulting with them. I go and do like in-person engagements with them to help them with company sales and stuff like that, helping them strategize. Like, I do the business side of that, of those things too. But it started when I was 17. Injured myself 14, 15, 16, getting it together. 16, I got the job with Adidas, and now I'm about to be a junior, senior in high school. Going into my senior year, I'm starting on varsity. I have all these things going, but all of the time that I came back, I everybody was really nervous with me on the court. You know what I mean? Like, think of like Paul George, what happened to him when he hurt himself. That's the way that I injured myself. So everybody, every time I'm going up for a layup or a dunk or I'm squatting too low, everybody's like, ooh. Like, the first few weeks, everybody, it was kind of annoying in a way, you know what I mean? But I had dealt with it, and I overcame those intrusive thoughts that I had about how people were judging me or preying on my downfall, people say, or like things like that. But I played a successful 2 years there, averaged 12 to 15 points over the course of my career, 2 years on varsity there. We were really good in our league, and when we got the Jordan brand sponsorship, that was the first time I've ever interacted with a brand in that capacity. I mean, like, I worked behind the scenes first with Adidas, but then, like, I was talent. I was in front of the camera. It felt good spinning the ball on my finger. It felt good with them telling me, hey, like, you could do this dunk, like go do that. They're not thinking about the injury. They trying to get good content. So that was the first stages of that as well. And as a high schooler, like, I didn't have that much money as a kid. I'm asking my mom for allowance. I don't have the best phone. I'm not posting on Instagram. You can only post photos at this time, or I think like 15-second clips at this point in time. So it was really early. But I was posting myself at practice now, doing dunks. Like Jordan Brand or all these people that this is motivation. I injured myself dunking. I'm about to make a career out of dunking the basketball now. You know what I mean? So that was the motive with that. But yeah, as I was going through, I was the president of the Black Student Union. I was in the Multimedia Careers Academy. I was in the Culinary Academy. I was doing college tours and helping run a college program to get inner city kids out of Los Angeles to just see the schools, because going into Clemson later, I met my coach that I went to Clemson to jump for. I met my coach when I was a basketball player, not a track athlete. He didn't know I did track. I met him before we did any type of business talking about track. So that was years before he met me. And going into my next thing, I didn't get any type of Division I offers, which I was so irritated about. I did my whole career, did all this coming back from the injury, all this mental time, getting ready for college. Like, I had the grades to apply to schools, but I wanted to be an athlete. So I wanted to study kinesiology. So that's health science for people that don't know. That's reading the study of the body. And I wanted to be an orthopedic surgeon. That was my first career goal outside of basketball, when I was just like, I don't know what's going to happen. So, excuse me, with me wanting to be the orthopedic surgeon, I have to go to either like a medical school or a school that's based with some base of medicine to have a good resume. So I chose the University of Laverne. It's a private institution in California, and they are a kinesiology school. They happen to have a basketball team, so it worked out perfectly for me. Division III school. I didn't want to go Division III. Like, I've always wanted to be a Division I boy, but I went to the Division III school and got benched the whole season. Can you believe that? I was pissed. I was so pissed. like I was like, they sold me this dream. Like, you're a D1 prospect. We're going to start you. We're going to build this team around you, this, that, and the third, and benched me. We had 12 seniors. I didn't know that either. So I'm like, they're like, they've been here 4 years. They need to get priority. We'll build the team around you. I was like, nah, this ain't working. School was hard. My first semester was horrible. I had to have conversations about grades and stuff. Ended up getting my grades back. I was just in a rough spot because that was my first semester in college, and I'm a first generation student as well. So I'm the first person in my family to go past high school. My mom and I graduated school together, actually, and that's something that we could talk about later on. But that happened before I went to this school. This happened after I went to this school. So at this school, I got benched. I'm not tired. The track coach comes to me. The basketball and the track coach had the same name, funny enough. But he had hit me up, email. He was like, hey, you want to come to track practice next week? And I'm like, why is my basketball coach reaching out to me on email? Like, you have my number. What are you doing? He's like, I've been seeing it ended up being the track coach, but he was like, we see you have raw talent. Like, you never did track and field before. Like, come try it out. I'm like, bet. Like, I'm not tired. Let's go get some workouts in. I'm just trying to be a college athlete. So I went to the track practice. I didn't have spikes. I just had basketball shoes. If nobody's familiar with high jump, it's backflipping over a pole in the air, essentially, if you don't know what high jump is. But he set the pole up. I knew nothing about centimeter increments, meters, none of that. I just knew basketball, and that was it. Never stepped foot on the track. And he's like, can you jump over that? I'm like, yeah, I can jump over that. What do you mean? You know what I mean? Like, okay, I'll go jump over this. Did it. Everybody's like, okay, like looking at me weird. I'm like, are you going to raise it up or like raise it up? Jump that. They're looking, taking notes. Everybody, like the athletes that were on the team there were like shell shocked. They looked like they were shell shocked. And I'm like, okay, cool. So after practice, they're like, we just want you to show up to this track meet. We're going to get you some spikes, show up. The Division III school, I entered the invitational, which means it's open to pros, Division I, II, and III, all the best schools, pros, all that. So I'm going against a couple of pros and USC, UCLA. There was different schools like Point Loma. Like, I've jumped against Kentucky, a lot of schools. But at this point in time, I was the only D3 kid, and I placed second in my first competition in college, like being thrown into the fire. So I had a raw talent for it. and I was ranked top 10 in the country, had 30 Division I offers the next week. Like, I'm going to class, the professor's stopping class for me. They're like, but I'm at a D3 school, so everybody's like, D1 is possible from here. You know what I mean? So I'm just like, I'm walking into class, like, I'm like, well, I really just struggled with homework last night. I don't know why she's setting me up to talk right now, because I got some questions. You know, so I was like, I was just freely living it, learning the sport at the same time, and I fell in love with it. And then funny enough, one of those 30 opportunities was Clemson University. And I signed my letter of intent while working at Adidas. Like, and I was downstairs at the Adidas in the middle of a meeting. I signed my letter of intent. I was like, hell yeah, I'm going. Yes, coach. Boom, sign me up. I'm doing it. Clemson is crazy. Their athletics program, amazing. But so I had the offer from Clemson. I already had the background from coach and knew him and met him. He took me on a tour to see football, basketball, track, volleyball, all that stuff. And he was just showing an inner city kid a good time at his school. I ended up being one of his athletes 3-4 years later, which is a funny coincidence. But he was like, "Oh, I heard you doing track. You doing big things, man. You want to come here?" Like, I'm like, "Yeah." We had a mutual friend, so we hooked that up. I signed there, moved there 2 months before I got accepted, without knowing that I was going to be able to be accepted, because the school that I was at tried to hold my transcript and didn't want to let me go. They wanted me to go straight Team USA from D3 straight to making them some money. So it was one of them type of situations where I was like, I definitely got to get out of here. If you guys are telling me not to go to this Division I school that makes over $300 million a year in their athletics programs, you know what I'm saying? Football is $200 million alone. So I'm like, yeah, I'm going. Went to Clemson, threw me out there in the fire. The first year, my first year, Division I. One of my strength coaches, I would never forget this. His name is Coach Durant, and I literally went and worked out with him a couple weeks ago. I still talk to him. He told me, he's a former U.S. Marine. He told me, if you leave and go to Clemson, he said, you better have your shit together. You better make sure you're ready to go out there with the dogs and play, because they're not going to play with you. They're going to really try to go out there and kill you on the track and field. So if you're going to leave and you're comfortable, do it. Because I was in between my basketball coach telling me to do it and the track coach forcing me to stay. I was 18 years old, not knowing what to do. And this is a opportunity that, I mean, we know now it set me up for a lot more, but I was guessing and choosing, trying to figure out what the best thing was for me. So I ended up going. It was amazing. I ended up being second team all ACC. Then I placed on the podium at ACC championships. I'm on the first team all ACC, and I'm top 10 all time in Clemson history for the high jump. Like, it's on paper, all online and everything. I had an amazing career there. And I feel like every place that I've been, I have, how can I say it? It's always been some major event happening everywhere I've been. So now I'm at Clemson. These things are happening. A lot of the like Black Lives Matter things was boiling up. There was a lot of tension. I was in the South, so you know how that can be sometimes. But all that was happening, and the athletic director at the time, his name was Dan Radakovich. I think I was a senior. I was my senior year. It was October 2021, I believe. He brought the men's track team into the volleyball gym and told us, "Hey, we're cutting men's track. This is the last season we're doing. Anybody here that's on a scholarship or anything, like, you guys will fulfill your scholarship, but we're not going to have a team here anymore." So they cut the track program and cut funding and cut all of that. So what I did, since I was building a following at the time, is me and a couple other captains on the team put together meetings and marches and protests and blah, blah. I was meeting with the athletic director once a week. It got to a point where my own teammates started turning on me, thinking I was like selling out to the athletics program. I was like, no, I'm trying to fix it, but we have to have a common ground. It can't be arguing and tear stuff up, and we don't rock like that. We have to set this up so that the kids behind us that are dreaming to jump here, run here, play basketball here, whatever, they have that opportunity here, and they know not to mess with the athletes here. So we ended up getting the program back after 5 months of fighting. We had 50,000 signatures on a petition. I think it's still live. I think it's everything is under Save Clemson Track and Field. That was something that I was on the news with it and everything, and that helped my popularity a lot, because I got a lot of loyal fans and a lot of loyal alumni that had my back in that point of time. And my following was going up as well, because I was doing the dunk videos and everything on the side. finally graduated from Clemson. I'm the first person to graduate from school. At the same time, my mom took multiple classes remotely and managed to get her master's before I was able to finish getting my master's, which I left to pursue social media when I was in grad school. But she got her master's. We took graduation photos together. It was a beautiful moment. But I was trying to figure out what was next for me, because it's like, we know if you're not top 10 in the country or top 10 in the world with an Olympic sport, it's not much money out there for you. So I had to be realistic with my career and how I wanted to move forward. And I knew that I wanted to play basketball for a living. However it was, I just wanted to play basketball. So I went to Chicago State University. As soon as the name, image, and likeness rule was approved with student athletes, this is when I started working with different agencies, and Viral Nation came in, and I was one of their first student athletes ever signed, me and Jordan McCade. So with us two, we were going crazy. We were signing brand deals. We were just making a name for ourselves, especially because it was a big moment that we had these careers in college, and now it opened up for athletes to be able to make money. So we were on that first wave of that, and I was able to benefit from that right at the tail end of my college career, just right at the tail end. But I was able to roll it, and I'm young enough to still relate to that audience, because I just turned 25 in June, so I'm fairly young. Yes, yeah, I'm fairly young. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like I lived a long life, but it's crazy. After Clemson, though, was insane trajectory, because I didn't have to worry about school. Like, I forgot that was a time hold that I had of multitasking, being a Hall of Fame Division I athlete and a student, and having good grades over 3.0 was mandatory, and that's tough at a school like Clemson. I ended up graduating with like a 3.4 or something like that, which was really good for me based on where I started at an inner city school in the hood. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
the
that's
difference.
amazing. Anthony, is there a person that made a profound impact on your professional life? I know your mom
Um,
was huge in your life,
yeah.
but there someone else that you could mention and tell us a little bit about?
Um, so I would say Caron Butler he's an assistant coach for the Miami Heat right now. He played for the Los Angeles Lakers. He played for the Clippers. He's played for a lot of different teams and is an NBA champion. 17,000 points. I know that's my dog, so I gotta flex it for him. But literally, he was the first. Him and Terrell Owens were the first two very acclimated celebrity athletes that I watched growing up that co-signed me, that like did content with me. Caron Butler invited me out to Wisconsin. He's from Racine, Wisconsin. He opened up a street there, a court. I went and pulled up to the gym, hooped with his family, hooped with his son. When he was playing with the Bucks, he showed me where he grew up, how he grew up. He gave me, like, he put me on game. Like, whenever if I needed anything, he held me down. And this was when I was in college, not making much money. Like, he's just helping me out because he sees me. He sees a young Black creator, athlete, somebody that's an entrepreneur trying to build, and he sees himself from where he was, and he's told me he's seen the light in me before. Terrell Owens is the same thing. Everybody got mixed opinions about T.O., but I love him. You know what I mean? He's a dope guy, and he's misunderstood, but he's a great mentor, and he's the type of person that he'll keep it straight with me. There's no yes men in my circle. So those two, besides my mother, were the most impactful because of where they were in life, and it opened up my perspective of where I can be in life as well.
I love that. And
Thank you.
can you share with us how you are using your success to bring goodness to the world? Can you share with us the most meaningful or exciting causes that you're working with right now or that you support?
Honestly, I support any upcoming starter businesses, any businesses that are trying to get off of the ground, people with real stories and a real background, and they have that why. Anybody that has a why to something, I feel like it's my job to figure out how to navigate what they're trying to do. So I'm not trying, like, let's forget about basketball. If basketball's out of the equation, I still have 50 things to play with. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to get it to that point, and that's kind of how I approach it. But right now, honestly, just a lot of different basketball programs that are up and coming. I don't know how public they want their things to be right now, but I know there's multiple LA basketball nonprofit organizations that I've been working with to help inner city kids get basketball training, see college programs. And I also have a scholarship in my name going to my high school that's been happening since I've been gone, that Adidas has been doing for the school. So those are different ways that I'm trying to give back besides my content and inspiration digitally. But that's how I have my footprint in the sand with those things.
I love that. And
Thank
is
you.
there a person who has been impacted by your cause? Do you know anybody who has been using your scholarships? Have you met with anybody in specific that you'd like to share with us?
So I've vaguely met the scholarship winners from the Adidas campaign. I could definitely get those names for the article if you like, because they have a finalist this year that they want me to interview for the first time. I'm trying to get more involved with that, and I just literally met with them to talk to them about being more involved with that. But that and that's the most recent thing. It's so much that I'm trying to do, so it's hard to just pinpoint without having to say the others, you know.
You're a very busy man. You're involved
Thank you.
in
Thank
athletics and the
Yeah,
content creation and, being,
music, sports, all of that. I'm trying to
oh my
be involved
gosh,
in everything. Yeah,
music. Yes, we're going to get to
yes,
that. I
yes.
love it. So, can you list three things that individuals, society, or the government can do to support your causes that you believe in, that you're working towards?
As far as like the charities and such,
Yes.
honestly, it's just more. I would say, in my opinion, just knowing how I grew up and how it is being a hardworking entrepreneur in a space where you don't have resources. I would love for any type of hierarchy to give more cash grab opportunities that are more immediate for those businesses, companies, entrepreneurs, single moms that need food in the pantries, homeless people, shelters, like just more of a budget that is easier to attain without a catch, because there's so many catches and interest and loan outs, and it's just digging a deeper hole that's not generationally like pleasing, if that's a statement, you know what I mean? If it's not, we gonna make it up. But like more to help the longevity of family well-being and business. I think it's the best way to summarize that.
I like that a lot.
Thank you.
So, now this is our signature question that we ask in nearly
Okay.
all of our interviews. What are your five things I wish someone told me when I first started, and why?
Woo! Oh man. Wow. Five things. That's the first time I've been asked that. There's so many because I am an overthinker for sure. I'm always thinking. I think first and foremost, trust in my vision. Like, and if you're reading, trusting your vision. You know what I mean? That's one thing that I would have wished I knew a little bit earlier. I was very early for the things that I'm doing, so I'm very grateful, and I understand that I'm very young and I have so much time with this. So I wouldn't trade anything. But that's one thing, just to follow your vision first and stop. Don't be a people pleaser is number two. If it's business, it's business. You know what I mean? Like if your product or your content sucks, you should be able to sit there and take that constructive criticism and adjust accordingly without breaking down. You know what I mean? So that's another one. Three is try everything. And you could be 45, 50 plus 75. Like I still have conversations with my grandmother about business ideas that she has that she's trying to do, and she's in her 70s. So you know what I mean? Like she sees me on TikTok, she's getting hip to everything. Like she's older, but she still has a dream. You know, we're all here. This is number four. We're all here for the first time. So don't try to over expect things to happen when it's your vision. You know what I mean? That's number four. And number five, I feel like is patience, because a lot of people that I've worked with so many brands. I've worked with over 200 brands at this point. Like I've worked with companies, brands, people. A lot of people jeopardize their relationships, rushing or pushing people too fast to do things, and then it messes everything up. Even if it's that slight trust, like if you was a friend that I've known for 15 years, you're moving in now and you do something to piss me off because business wise, because throwing me off. You know, like you want to avoid those things. So that's another thing. And overall, like I'm really grateful for where I am, and I just hope that anybody reading, like if they reach this right here, like just keep going for your dreams. You know what I mean? Like no dream is crazy. I've literally wrote things down and made it happen months after. Crazy things, been in a movie. You know what I mean? Like starred in a movie. So it's like it's so many things that's happened that has let me just catapult in this entertainment industry.
Very great. I love that. I love it. Thank you
Thank,
so much for sharing that.
thank you.
Can you share with our readers any self-care routine, practice, practices, or treatments that you do to help your body, your mind, and your heart to thrive?
Yes. From somebody that was working out 3 times a day, 7 days a week, work out twice a week, bro. That's all I gotta say with that. Workout, find it could be a walk, it could be a jog, it could be in the pool, swimming laps. Like find something to be active once or twice a week just to get your body out of the house. We're in a virtual time and it's really hard to get out of the house these days. People complaining about the weather and all type of stuff. People didn't care about that when there were no cell phones. There was this out there, you know? So that's one. Meditation. A lot of people think that meditation is just one thing, setting a bunch of rocks out, lighting a fire, hitting a sound bowl, and humming for 45 minutes. It literally can be sitting outside in the peace and quiet and just breathing. It's breathing techniques, just calming your mind down, getting away from the phone. And then another thing that I do is just like family time. I've built my content to a point where it's just my fan base watching me live my life now. I'm grateful for that because it makes it a lot easier on me and I'm able to do more with the variety. I'm not stuck to one niche. So, you know, just finding a balance with family time, spending time with loved ones, going to the bar if you do that, going to a sporting event, just doing something outside, completely different from what you do on an everyday basis, whatever it is. So just switching that. And that's literally the keys right there. Like if you got all of those things, you're a very peaceful and patient person.
I agree, 100%.
Yes,
Now,
yes,
the big
yes.
question, can you share with us the story behind your latest single, Pin Now? What inspired
Yes.
the song, and what was it like working with Bizkitbnb? We would love to hear
Yeah.
some behind the scenes details.
Yes. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna start off by saying this, and he's gonna freak out when he sees his name in the article. If you guys mention them, please do, because they will freak out and post it everywhere. They are so slept on. They have over 700 million streams, over 39 credits. They've done soundtracks for Tom and Jerry. They've worked with Beyonce, John Legend. They've worked with so many different people. Coco Jones, Jennifer Hudson, a lot of Black prominent artists that work in the industry. They compose music as well. They know how to play the saxophone and the piano, so they're talented. It's not all electric in the studio. And also, we have a catalog of about 13 to 14 songs that we've been creating over the last year and a half. So us popping out and doing this, like we did Pin Now about like a month or two ago, and we did different versions. The first version of Pin Now had no second verse. It was just the one verse. It was a minute long. And we were like, oh, we like that, cool. But when we saw we had something, we got into the studio, and every beat that we've made on every song, we've made on our own. I produce, I do all that. I beat make, we do all that. We've made the beats, we write our own lyrics. And every song we've made has taken 1 4 hour long studio session from the beat to the song. So it's a lot of talent going into that, and there's a lot of technology that makes it easy to make music and stuff like that. And those are things that in the music industry that they're worried about, but you can't beat that. Because when we go and perform and do parties and they're playing instruments and we've got a year of chemistry already, and they've co-signed me to a point where they're telling me thank you for revamping them and making them believe that they still got it, because they do. You know what I mean? And any way that I can have my following be of assistance to drive something I'm doing to help support a fellow friend or somebody that's upcoming, or to just flex and have fun, like I'm down for all of that, and they were down for that too. And there's a lot of big producers that are smaller than them that act bougier than them or sassier than them and don't want to give opportunity to people that have talent, you know? So it was a huge learning curve. The process of that was really easy. I have a whole album I'm dropping with them called Distance that I've sent to my team and everything. but I wrote that whole album about my girlfriend. Me and my girlfriend have been together for 2 years, and I was writing that throughout the time of us being long distance, to moving in with each other, to meeting each other's parents, to Pin Now is like the party now. Like that Pin Now is one of the last songs. So it's like the party now. I got the girl now. Like, Pin Now, drop your pin. But it's like it's a story to all the tracks as well. But you know how social media is, so I'm very careful when I care about my audience and don't want to roll everything out too much to where they just get they're just like, what's going on? You know what I mean? And then they don't get the respect that they should regarding Biscuit and Butter, the producers. They wouldn't get the respect they did because I'm rolling it out and I'm not being patient. We have a song named Patient. So, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of things that we're working on, but that was the process of Pin Now.
I love this story.
Thank
Amazing.
you.
And I love the song too. Everybody
Thank
should
you.
listen to it.
Let's go.
So you are a person of enormous influence. If you could inspire a movement that would bring the most amount of good to the most amount of people, what would that be?
I would say, first and foremost, anything female sports related. I'm glad y'all getting y'all credit, because I've always been on the sidelines cheering for upcoming athletes, and my girlfriend has friends that are going to the Olympics that are female athletes competing, WNBA, FIFA soccer, whatever, all the female sports. I love the fact that that's getting more recognition. Now I just want the pay grade to go up. I want them to be paid more. You know what I mean? If we could afford to give 200 million to one person, we could spread that out amongst a team. You know what I mean? 12 girls, 13, like, let's figure that thing out. So just as a fan, from a fan watching sports standpoint, that's really amazing to see. All of the influencers that are getting into communities and doing more with the communities, with the park takeovers and the safe and the brand safe and appropriate things that they're doing with the communities. I support and see all of those things, and I love it. Like, it just shows me where we are as a community, how we're growing, and how we see everything that's going on. And those are the causes, like just being out in public, being a humanitarian, and being an influence to your community, and then women's sports getting the credit they deserve. Those are the two main things that I've been like thinking about a lot lately. So it's great.
It's huge. I agree with you.
I love it. The love and the hate. Keep bringing it on. I love it. It's all PR. Like, let's do it. They ain't tripping. They gonna get paid for all that marketing. So I'm like, let's do it. Like, y'all, I just love the way that it's been moving, especially the WNBA, because I'm a basketball player at heart.
That is right.
Yeah.
I love that. So this is what we call our matchmaker question, and sometimes it works. So is there a person in the world whom you would love to have a power lunch with, and why? Maybe we can tag them and see what happens.
Damn. There's a couple of people. So there's a few people. It used to be Jamal Crawford, but I literally am talking to him as we speak in my DM, like on Instagram. Like, I know his son. I know his son and everything. Like, we're planning content and all type of stuff. But it used to be him. So that's crazy. But I would say Kevin Hart is a main first in close competition with Will Smith. And this is why these two people, Kevin Hart, not only did I almost get an opportunity to work with him, and I think you guys should mention this as well. They reached out to me to work with me a while ago, and it was to replace an NBA player for something. And the NBA player ended up showing up for the first time ever. For the first time ever in history of anybody showing up that said they weren't going to show up, they showed up. So I was like, damn. I was so mad off of that. But Kevin Hart, because that moment happened and it just showed me how close I was to doing something with him. I've been seeing him interact with a lot of content creators lately. Well, not a lot of content creators, but everybody's seen the Kai Cenat stream, the stuff that he's doing on social media more often. He's working out more. His trainer, Just Train, he's commented on a lot of my basketball posts like, oh, and I've hit him like, let's work. No response. It's cool though, because we gonna make it happen. Like, but him, not only that, he's able to be a rock star in what he does. No matter the niche, he's able to be a rock star and have a whole production media side that is a whole different empire, but it's still him. and it's a million different things as well. You know what I mean? So when you're successful and you're a multi-millionaire and you're talking about $1 billion in the box office plus, that's somebody that I want to sit down and ask questions. And I'm not gonna ask for money. You know what I mean? So it's like it's one of those. Like, I love the knowledge. I'm a sponge, and I'm that type of person. Will Smith is because he's obviously a very accoladed actor, artist, humanitarian. He does a lot of those things, and just how he carries himself is very inspirational. You know, obviously things happen when people test your family or test things personal going on. That happens. I ain't nothing to say. I ain't even see it, but you know what I mean. But with everything else, like, he still has that legacy regardless of anything. And I follow that legacy, and he's inspired me through movies like Pursuit of Happiness, or made me laugh with movies like Hitch, or the Hancock. He's a superhero. He's a cop. Bad Boys. It was amazing. I was in Miami and saw it the night it came out. Like, we made sure we were there to see it. So things like that, those are the two people. That's why, and it's gonna happen one day, one or the other or both. I'm very confident.
I agree. I agree. And Will Smith,
Thank you.
it's controversial, but I agree that when you mess with your family,
Yeah, like, it's business until you talk about who's taking care of you in the house, or until you talk about something private. Like, you got all this public space to play with, you messing with something private now. You know, so it is what
exactly.
it is, though. Yeah, it is what it is.
So, Anthony, how can our readers follow you online? I know there's a lot of platforms,
Yes.
and
So
list us
literally,
all of them.
the easiest way, because I say Hamilton Jr. and the O is a zero, and they'll try to find it and they won't put the zero, so it won't pop up. Anthony Hamilton Jr. on every single platform you will find me. Apple Music, it is literally Hamilton Jr. only. So as an artist, it's just Hamilton Jr., but everything else, Anthony Hamilton Jr., and I'll pop up. For short, also, it's just my username is the same on every platform. It's Hamilton Jr. and the O's a zero. But that's where everybody can find me.
This was so informative. Thank you so much. We wish
Thank you.
you only continued success,
Yeah.
Anthony. You're awesome. Thank
Thank
you.
you. No, thank you. I appreciate it.